Welcome back, TNT, Coal Region Football's Thursday Night Tailgate. Hard to believe, guys, this is week 6. It's upon us.
Yeah,
We're halfway through. It's flying by. As we talked about earlier in the year, adjusted schedule this year with the early start. Here we are, late September, already halfway through the season. So what we're going to do now is recap the week 5 action. First, we got Jim Thorpe playing Shenandoah Valley. Shenandoah Valley still winless this season. Thorpe gaining some traction behind the signal calling of first-year football player Brendan Carroll. Thorpe looks tough. Coop, Thorpe comes on top, 48-0 over Shenandoah.
Yeah, really no surprise there. A big rushing attack from the Olympians again. St. Hill over 100 yards for a second straight week. Had 3 touchdowns in the game. Jim Thorpe ran for 360 plus as a team. You know, and Shenandoah's just in a tough spot. They don't have a lot of bodies. I think they're maybe under 20 kids right now. They're in pads. So, you know, tough year for the Devils. They got to keep battling through. There's still some winnable games at the end of their schedule, I think. But Jim Thorpe did what we expect them to do this week.
Okay, next we have Tri-Valley and Minersville. This is one that we talked a little bit about. We thought it was going to be an interesting matchup, especially the contrast of leagues. We thought, you know, Minersville might have played some better competition throughout the year, even though Tri-Valley is a team you look at that you would think coming into that was the prohibitive favorite. It was a tough game. Tri-Valley comes on top. The Dogs beat the Miners 17-7.
Yeah, Minersville actually played them really tough. They, especially on the defensive side, Scheib and Swam, who are 2 perennial 100-yard rushers coming into this game. They've had 100 yards almost every game this year. They held them to just 36 yards to Swam and 12 yards to Scheib. So that was a great job. Ike Lucas actually broke out for the Dogs, and that's what helped them. He had 146-yard rushing on the night. But Minersville got their offense going a little bit. They rushed for 169 yards. So I think Minersville, even though they lost, they played a tough game. They played solid defense. They got the run game going. So a good sign for the Miners heading into their now their Division II schedule coming up.
Okay, speaking of good signs for the Pottsville Crimson Tide. You know, obviously they're there every year in football, or I'm sorry, in basketball, every year in baseball. Serve a notice to the Schuylkill League that now they're going to be right in the mix in football with a very impressive shutout win over Crestwood. And if you happen to be listening Saturday night, you got to hear the sweet sounds of John Cooper. Coop, you were there. Tell us about Pottsville.
First time I got to see them live, and I was impressed. Defensively, they were tremendous all over the field. Ian Renninger is just a force on the defensive line. He's in the backfield all night long. They do a great job of just going to the ball. A couple times I thought Crestwood runners had the corner, maybe going to get the edge for big gains, and they just fly the ball. Guys get there quick. Offensively, they're dynamic with Darian Jacoby. He had a big rushing touchdown, 49 yards, I think it was, coming out of the second half gate. Also intercepted a pass, returned that one 70 yards for a touchdown. So first time seeing Pottsville live, I was impressed. I think it was 13-0 at halftime. Third quarter, they just came out and hit another gear and just put the game away. So I'm looking forward to see what they do moving forward now.
Yeah, going to be very interesting now that they get into league play. And you mentioned Ian Renninger, and you know, as PV's basketball coach, we've had to deal with him on the hardwood for the last 2 years. I couldn't be happier that now with the change of divisions, we don't have to deal with Ian Renninger because he is a tremendous athlete, one of the best in the Schuylkill League, and really having a standout junior season on the football field, getting D1 looks now, and you're going to hear a lot about him as we move forward.
And he made a beautiful catch in the end zone from his tight end position. So very athletic, and he just both sides of the ball, tough matchups for kids.
Okay, next we have our Thursday night special. Thursday night, Hurls, you were en route to Ann Arbor. Probably had the radio cranking all about that bass. You're all about that bass all the way out to Ann Arbor.
It didn't work.
In the meantime, while Hurls had the top down and his hair was flowing back, Coop and I were grinding in Lansford for the Thursday night special between the Indians and the Panthers. We wanted to see how Panther Valley was going to come out, especially after the tough week against Tamaqua. And I was impressed with the way they came out. They came out swinging. They came out ready to play. And for a half, this was a game. At one point in the second quarter, the Panthers led 13-12. Second half rolled around. Let me back up. Right before half, the Heighton punches one in. And they're receiving the second half kickoff. Things snowballed. The final score doesn't tell the story. I don't know. But for the first half, you saw some good things for the Panthers. But Lehighton eventually got things rolling, and you continue to roll throughout that second half. And once that got rolling, there was no stopping them.
Yeah, like I said, just things snowballed on. We got out of hand quick. First half, we were excited. It was a game. I thought Panther Valley's offense was doing some nice things. They They got Blasco involved in the passing game a little bit from his tight end position. Figueroa had a real nice run. I think it was Xander Kern putting the ball in the end zone for them. But we said at the end of the first half, it was big spot for Panther Valley because had they given up a touchdown there and then Lehighton getting the ball to start the second half was going to be huge. And Lehighton scored on both of those possessions and followed that with a muffed kickoff by the Panthers, and that's when things just got out of hand for them. But, if they can put it all together, it's there. They just got to get things together.
So final score there, Lehighton comes out on top in our Thursday night special, 51-19 in Lansford over Panther Valley. Next we have North Schuylkill, Mount Carmel. Always a great game. This is about as Coal Region football as you can get when the Spartans and the Red Tornadoes meet. They don't like each other. Their fans don't like each other, which makes for an awesome atmosphere, makes for an awesome game. And this was a smash mouth, smack 'em type of game, and it's kind of what we expected to see as far as a type of game. We were a little surprised with how few times the Spartans put the ball in the air. That was one thing that was a bit surprising. But when they were rushing the ball like they did, no need to. Spartans come on top, 28-14 over Mount Carmel.
Yeah, anytime you can go into the Silver Bowl, I don't care how good Mount Carmel is, and get a victory, that's impressive. And got to give them a Schuylkill. They had a tough loss to Haven the week before, and they just came out and they pushed around Mount Carmel, who even though they might be a little down this year, they still have some tough kids on that defensive front. So Richie Zahodnik, he was moved to receiver, now he's back to quarterback. All he did was rush for 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Spartans, like I said, we only took 2 passing attempts, so it looks like they went back to their rushing game there to pull out this victory. And one thing you got to watch for, though, with North Schuylkill, and I think we've seen it all year, is they're a little susceptible in that passing game. 203 yards they give it to Mount Carmel, so you got to keep an eye on that moving forward. But they shut out the Red Tornadoes for 3 quarters. It was and they got out to a 28-0 lead there, and then Mount Carmel got 2 touchdowns in the fourth when the game was kind of out of reach. But very impressive win by North Schuylkill, and excited to see what happens this week against Lehighton. But good bounce back win for the Spartans, and they're a tough team. They're one of those teams that if they get hot, who knows what could happen.
Very good points. Speaking of impressive, I don't know what was more impressive, Haven's defense or Coop, your workload this week. You're all over the place. You're in Lansford Thursday night, Friday night.
Metamarian Stadium
at a hometown to see the Colts host the Hurricanes of Schuylkill Haven. One of our games that we really were focused on coming into this week. And, what do you take from that, Coop? Haven does come on top of this game against the Colts 17-7.
If you,
I'm sorry, 17-6.
Yeah, if you like defensive football, that was the place for you to be Friday night. It was 2 defenses that left everything out there. Points were hard to come by. Yards were hard to come by. Schuylkill Haven kicked the first quarter field goal, which, by the way, was their first points in the first quarter of the season, believe it or not, even though they're undefeated. They
That's
just
hard to believe.
They like playing that slow tempo. They're in no hurry, and they just want to control the clock. So Haven gets on the board first with a field goal. Kaczynski comes right back with a rushing touchdown for the Colts, and it stays 7-3 for a while before Schuylkill Haven was able to take the lead at halftime, 10-6. So that's where we stayed the entire second half. Schuylkill Haven very content just to run some time off the clock and then punt it. And speaking of punting, Daniel Lozada, their quarterback, is also their punter, and he just pinned the Colts back all night long. And sometimes it's overlooked, overshadowed, but their special teams for Haven was ridiculous. Marion for the second half couldn't get out of the shadows of their own goal line, and that was just the way it went. Marion gets the ball back with 3 minutes left with a chance to put together a drive, and Lozada jumps an out pattern and takes it for a pick 6 and kind of seals the deal. But if you like defensive football, Mike Callie and Jake Luckenbill, Matt Callie, and the linebacking crew for the Schuylkill Haven Hurricanes, they're tough. Their secondary plays well, and Marion's defense played a tremendous game. I mean, too good to lose, but somebody had to lose the game. But it was entertaining. Great defensive battle, good, hard-nosed Coal Region football.
And, funny you should say that. I was extremely impressed when I got to see Marion live with their defense against Lehighton. Unfortunately, both times, not quite enough to come out with a W. But their defense certainly getting the job done. As we mentioned, missing that game breaker on the offensive end. We talked about that earlier in the season, kind of missing that game breaker that they've had in the past. But Haven clearly separating themselves as the class of the small division in the Schuylkill League. Next, moving on, we have Blue Mountain and Tamaqua. This is my upset special. This is my Raiders, my preseason surprise team. And this week, came back down to earth a little bit. Blue Mountain just a little too much for the Raiders. It was a game early. Blue Mountain pulls away late, ends up winning 29-7 over Tamaqua.
Yeah, Tamaqua hung in there in the first half, had a big interception and swung some momentum in their favor. But then that Blue Mountain defense, I mean, they're right up there with Schuylkill Haven this year defensively. They really just clamped down on the Raiders. An interesting stat is here, until 2:53 left in the game, Tamaqua had exactly no yards of offense in the second half. Mm-hmm. That means you almost got shut out with 0 yards in the second half until late in the fourth quarter, and that's pretty tough to do. Against a Tamaqua team that's been running the football really well and been balancing the passing games too. They have a lot of weapons, so in order for Blue Mountain to do that and really clamp down on them is impressive. And you got to give it to Kerstetter. Ran 15 times in the night for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Blue Mountain QB, last name Cruson, threw for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. Stepped in for Mason Freed, who all my sources tell me that he will not be playing this week against Jim Thorpe again. This will be his last suspended game. This will make it 3 in a row for him. But Cruson, all he did was step in and throw for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns against a pretty stout Tamaqua team. So Blue Mountain, they always have talent. They always have size. But this year, the defense is what I think is special about them and gives them a chance to sky's the limit for them this year.
Yeah, I don't want to say surprised, but didn't quite expect them to have the defense that they have. I mean, yeah. I don't think we saw anything coming into this that would lead us to believe that they would have this type of defense, but it is extremely impressive. So, congrats to Coach Mabry and his staff for, putting that defense together, and, some of these stalwarts that they've had for a couple of years, like a Connor Kerstetter and a Spencer Welsh, really leading the defense, and Noecker, obviously.
Yeah, I think he's the real...
Yeah, he's the fourth.
Yeah, he's really tough to block. He's a really... big-time nose guard. Big time.
Mm.
All right, so there you have it. That is our Week 5 recap. So, hard coal players of the week. Hurls, who you got?
I got to go with Richie Zahodnik. Big game at the Silver Bowl. No bigger stage against your rival. 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. We don't have the record books here, but I'd probably say that's one of the better performances from a North Schuylkill running back against Mount Carmel in their history. So, sure. Great job, Richie. You're my hard coal player of the week.
Cool.
I'm going to go with Darian Jacoby from Pottsville. I got a chance to see them live. Like I said, he had the big rushing touchdown, interception return for a touchdown. He catches passes out of the backfield, plays both sides of the ball, and just one of those guys that anytime he touches it, he's a threat to go all the way. Enjoyed watching him play. So Darian Jacoby, my hardcore player of the week.
Speaking of both sides of the ball, I'm going to go with Connor Kerstetter from Blue Mountain, one of the best athletes in the Schuylkill League. 15 carries, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a big win over Tamaqua. This was a spot where I thought if they were going to stumble a bit, and maybe they were a little ripe for the picking with missing some guys, and the Blue Raiders, playing very strong for the first half of the season, and they squashed that right away. So very impressive performance by Blue Mountain, led by Connor Kerstetter. So he is my hard coal performer. So, gentlemen, we're halfway through. Some halfway point thoughts, things that you're impressed with through the first 5 games.
I'm going to go with Schuylkill Haven defense. I knew they were going to be good. I did not know they were going to be, basically, you can't run on them. First game of the year against a dynamic Jim Thorpe team that's been running all over everybody. I mean, some people might say it's a competition, but still, you can only play who's in front of you. They held them to -9 yards. Now, this week, they held the Marion team to -19 yards. I mean, that is just pure domination on the defensive front. That's people playing discipline. That's people making sound tackles. That's fundamentals. That's everything you need, plus speed, plus athletic ability. I mean, I just can't see anybody being able to do anything offensively in these guys, maybe not all year long, no matter how far they go. So, very impressed with the Schuylkill Haven defense.
All right, speaking of Schuylkill Haven there, now, at this point, we've all got a chance to see every team throughout the league.
Yeah.
We've at least one of us have seen them live at some point.
Yeah.
We've got a chance to talk about them, see it on film if one of us didn't see them live. Throughout the first 5 games, you talked about discipline. Schuylkill Haven, by far, the most disciplined, the most fundamentally sound team in the league. They don't make mistakes.
No.
They don't shoot themselves in the foot, and that is so overlooked in high school football. There's so many times where teams just shoot themselves in the foot, missing tackles, stupid penalties, turning the ball over. Schuylkill Haven does not do that, and it's so impressive, and for that reason, that's separating them from these other teams, especially in the small division of the league, and is going to, really play to their advantage moving forward in districts and throughout the state playoffs. Super impressed with the job Coach Farr has done with Schuylkill Haven. Cool.
Before we get that, they might not give up a point until week 10 when they play Blue Mountain. I'm telling you, from now until week 10, they might not give up a point.
Yeah.
And that's my guess there. I'm impressed with Pottsville. We knew they were coming in the league this year. The program had struggled at times in that in the Berks County League where they were, and for a while Pottsville's known to be awesome in all their sports, baseball, basketball. For a while there, the football program just wasn't there, and it was kind of like, wow, how can Pottsville struggle at something with the athletes they have? So it's nice to see them into this league. They're playing well. They have great kids, like I said, Renninger, Jacoby, Wapinski. They're a solid group, and they play defense very well also. So I like them. I think in the beginning of the year we thought they might be in the mix for Division II. Now they're really showing that they will definitely be in this mix, and looking forward to their battles down the road with North Schuylkill and Blue Mountain going forward.
I'm going to talk about two teams that played each other this week, Blue Mountain and Tamaqua. Blue Mountain sitting here at 4-1. Some very impressive wins early in the season. We talked about the defense. We didn't expect the defense to be as stout as it is. I think Blue Mountain has been very impressive early on, even more impressive than we had probably anticipated. And Tamaqua, they were my preseason surprise team. They were an afterthought in Division I. They were picked to finish last. They're sitting here 3-2, and they're right in the thick of things for district. So those are the two teams that have impressed me through the first half of the year. So that is our Week 5 recap. That's some thoughts on the first half of the season. Any closing thought, Hurls?
No, I'm just excited to get into this week for our preview, and got some other big games coming up. It's now to the end of the year, all these big games. I'm really excited.
Everything's full-blown league play this week, so we're looking forward to that. Got a little taste of it last week with the Blue Mountain game and the Marion game, but now
a little appetizer last week.
This week everybody's in league play, so it'll be fun.
All right, so that's our Week 5 recap. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back. Look forward to all these Week 6 games. A lot of league matchups this week. We're going to talk about them all. We'll be right back. TNT, Coverage and Football's Thursday Night Tailgate. Welcome back. This is part 2 of our Week 6 show, TNT, Coverage and Football's Thursday Night Tailgate. Part 1, we took a look at all the Week 5 games, talked about a little bit about the first half of the season. We're going to take a look at the Week 6 matchups, and now we have all league games all across the board, so we're real excited about the matchups in Week 6. First one, we have Minersville at 1-4. Their only win against Shenandoah in a non-league game. Now they're taking on the Blue Devils again. This time traveling to Shenandoah to take on the 0-5 Devils. Hurls, who you got?
I got the Miners. They showed me a lot of guts last week. Lost a tough one to Tri-Valley 17-7, but did a good job on the stopping their two main rushers. And they showed some promise in the running game. I like the Miners. I think they're physical and numbers down in Shenandoah.
Miners will also. I think they're, like Bryce, I think they're a more physical team. I think they keep Shenandoah's offense in check. Shenandoah having a hard time finding points or stopping anybody. So I think Miners will.
Agreed. So all three of us got Minersville. Next we have Monterey at 4-1, traveling to Schuylkill Haven at 5-0. Hurls?
Yeah, I like Haven. I think Lewandowski actually got injured last week, so I don't know what his status is for this week. So without him, he makes them go. I still think they'll have a little success maybe here and there, but like we said, that Schuylkill Haven rush defense has been really tough. So Bears in for a tough one. Haven keeps rolling.
Absolutely. Schuylkill Haven all the way in this one, and just too good defensively.
Huge step up in competition for the Golden Bears. I don't think they can hang with the Hurricanes this week, so I got to go with Schuylkill Haven as well. Next, we have huge rivalry. Marion travel to Lansford to take on the Panther Valley Panthers. Marion at 2-3, Panther Valley at 1-4. Normally, in these type of rivalries, they say throughout the record books. Can we do that this time, Coop?
Well, yeah, I mean, since Marion at 2-3, the record's not overly impressive for the Colts, but they are an impressive team. And I do like their defense also. I think they'll give the Panthers a hard time. And, Panther Valley, they have to tackle better. They have to do a better job of keeping guys out of the end zone, and they have to play for 4 quarters. So until they can do that, got to go Marion here.
Yeah, I agree. I like Marion. I think Panther Valley hangs in there. I think they have some big plays. But I think when you got a quarterback like Ethan Kaczynski back there as your main guy, he's not going to let Marion lose this one. I like the Colts.
Yeah, too many times against the Indians, the Panthers have 5-6 guys around the ball and not making a tackle. So, until that area improves, I think it's going to be hard to pick them against a quality team like the Colts, so I got to go with Marion as well. Next, we're going to move on to our Division I games. North Schuylkill traveling to the Heighton. Very interesting matchup here. The Spartans sitting at 3-2, the Indians at 4-1. Coop, what do you think?
Wow. Tough ball game to pick. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is tough. Especially with North Schuylkill taking care of business the way they did last week at Mount Carmel. Lehighton at home. I think this one's a good toss-up. I'm going to go Indians at home.
Yeah, I like Lehighton as well. Lehighton really the only team that gives Schuylkill Haven a run for their money. Actually, could say that they should have won that game with Schuylkill Haven coming back to beat them. But I think Shares showed the ability to run last week, had over 100 yards. His arm, too much for North Schuylkill. Like we said, they're a little susceptible in that passing attack. And also, I don't think you can be one-dimensional against Lehighton. They showed against Marion a couple weeks ago that they were able to stop their run. So I like the Indians, but I like it to be close, but Indians pull this one out.
I'm going to go to a bit of an upset. I'm going to take the Spartans. Seeing Lehighton against Marion, I saw some areas where the Indians were a little susceptible. Mm-hmm. Marion gave them a run for their money. I think North Schuylkill could do the same. And, I think they'd be carrying over that momentum from Mount Carmel. So, not saying it's going to be easy. Obviously, we're huge Tom McCarroll fans and Indians fans. We've been, since they came into the league. But, if we were all here to pick these games, and I think that this week North Schuylkill gets the job done, just a gut feeling I have. So I'm going to pick the Spartans heading to Lehighton. Next, we have Pottsville traveling to Tamaqua to take on the Blue Raiders. Pottsville sitting at 4-1. Tamaqua with 3-2 hurls.
Short ride down the Pottsville stretch for the Tide.
Very short
It's nice
ride.
to see these two teams play each other. They used to be big-time rivals back in the day, from what I understand. I like Pottsville. I think they're rolling. Shutout win last week. Tamaqua showed against a tougher defense in the second half that they just didn't have the firepower. And I think that, Pottsville, real similar to a Blue Mountain defense with the size they have up front. Those athletic defensive tackles and really got speed guys on the edge. So I like Tamaqua to keep it close in the first half because they got the home field advantage. They do have some tough runners, and Zuber is a dynamic guy. But I like Pottsville to pull it out. I like them to win by 2 or 3 touchdowns in this one.
I think it'll be a little bit closer. I like Pottsville also. I think Tamaqua plays better this week than they did last week. I think they got a taste of it last week playing Blue Mountain. It was a step up from what they've been playing in the first half of the season. So they got a taste of that kind of defense, of that kind of speed. And I think they'll make some adjustments, having Pottsville, who I think is kind of similar as Blue Mountain. So I expect Tamaqua to play better, maybe keep it closer, but I think Pottsville wins.
I would agree. I think Pottsville wins. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 28-14. That's kind of what I'm thinking, but I do think Pottsville, based on what we saw so far with Pinsky, Jacoby, Reniger, a little too much for Tamaqua to handle. So I got to go with the Tide as well. Next, our game of the week, the Blue Mountain Blue Eagles, 4-1, traveling to Jim Thorpe to take on the 4-1 Olympians, traveling to the hometown of Brad Hurley and John Cooper. Are any of you guys going to have the guts to pick against your hometown?
Yes.
Against our hometown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that this is going to be...
You're going against the Olympians?
Yes. I think this is going to be a really close game, actually. I think Freed, from everything, the people I've talked to, the understanding is Freed will miss this week. So I think that the Red Storm has been playing really well. I think they're going to play well again. I like them to have some big plays. I like where this team is at right now. That being said, I always tend to go towards the defensive side of the ball when a close game. And over the last 2 seasons, Jim Thorpe has come into the Blue Mountain game playing well, and Blue Mountain has just knocked them right in the mouth, ran on them, just took it to them, and
physically.
And what I see again from Blue Mountain is I see Kerstetter and I see Noecker, and I think those guys are just too much physicality for the Olympians to handle, especially up front. They've been doing a better job, but they haven't seen a team like Blue Mountain since that Week 1 loss to Haven. So I'm going to go with Blue Mountain, but in a really close game. I'm talking maybe 3-point game. I think that too tough a defense for Blue Mountain. I like the Blue Eagles.
Yeah, I like Blue Mountain also, and I think with Jim Thorpe, I think when they can control the line of scrimmage, they put up big numbers. I think when they have a difficult time controlling the line of scrimmage, they search for answers for offense. And like I said, with those guys you mentioned, I think Blue Mountain has an edge in the trenches. And I hope it's a good game. I think it will be a close game, but it might be one of these games where Jim Thorpe has the struggles. I don't think as bad as it was in Week 1 with the Haven struggles that they had, where they couldn't even get positive yardage. But I do see their running game getting a little bit stifled here this week, and them having to find some offense somewhere else, maybe through the air with Carroll.
I
like Blue Mountain.
I got Blue Mountain as well. So across the board, we got Blue Mountain on the road beating Jim Thorpe. So I did rapid fire a couple weeks ago. Try to mix it up a little bit. We're gonna do something different. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. So you got to come up with a bold prediction.
Okay.
Bold. So think for a second. I want you to think about where we're at right now, and I want you to think about some type of bold prediction for either the second half of the season or where we're going to be at the end of the year. Something that might be a bit of a surprise that you think that you think could happen. So bold prediction is not something you're saying is definitely going to happen, but you think has a pretty good chance. So Coop, I'll let you go first.
All right, I kind of mentioned a little bit in our first segment, but I really believe that Schuylkill Haven can throw 4 consecutive shutouts and not give up a point until they see Blue Mountain in Week 10. That's my bold prediction.
That's bold. 4
They don't give
consecutive
up a point.
shutouts. Yeah, that's impressive. Pearls.
Just to get back on the good side of my friends from Jim Thorpe. I think that in a couple weeks when Jim Thorpe heads to Pottsville, I like Jim Thorpe to get a big upset victory in Mark Rosenberger's hometown, a former Pottsville Crimson Tide football player, and a successful one. And Jim Thorpe head back there since the heartbreaking, heart-wrenching District 11 AAA loss they had there in 2004.
Jason Fagor.
Jason Fagor, Justin Young, Dan Flyzak, you could name a bunch of guys.
That's a great game.
Yeah. So heart-wrenching game for them. And I think Rosenberger takes the Red Swarm back to his hometown and they get a big upset victory and they shake things up in Division One.
That would shake things up.
Yeah, that's my bold prediction.
All right, shaking things up. So I'm looking at 2 4-1 teams: Bonnie area, Jim Thorpe, and I think both of them have huge steps up in competition over the last half of the season. So I think one of those 4-1 teams go 1-4 in the second half.
Finish 5-5.
Finish 5-5. Yeah. So just because of the step up in competition.
Yeah.
Very impressive both of them done thus far this year. You know, it's more of a case of looking at the teams that they're playing rather than looking actually at them. But I think you're going to see a huge difference between where one of those teams are at now and where they're at the end of the year due to the competition that they're going to play. Going down towards the end stretch. So that's it. Any closing thoughts?
No. Just real quick, for all you Blue Ridge Communication subscribers, I'll be hosting Friday Night Football this week with Big Game Lou Rusnock. So
you're going big time on us.
Going
big time on us.
Listen, like I said, I won't have this beautiful pine smell in the studio. I'll miss that.
Nice.
I'll miss that. Trust me. But yeah, like I listen. I feel like you guys said you were cheating on me last week.
We're a little tear in our eye as Brad leaves the shed.
Don't worry, I told you I'll give you guys a shout out and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited.
It's the hair, Pat. If we had the hair, it would be us.
Yeah, it is nice long.
If we had the hair, they would have called us.
It is very nice.
So that's 10:30.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's 10:30 on Blue Ridge Cable TV 13. That's Friday Night Football. Myself and Big Game Lou. Big Game Lou's a great guy. He worked at the Times News in the past, as like I still work for them part time. So real excited. And Mark McKeon fill in for him. He's going down to bucket list thing. He's a big Georgia Bulldogs fan, so he's going down to Athens to see him play the Vols. So real excited for the opportunity and looking forward to it.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
they do an awesome job.
Oh yeah,
like all of us are here to promote this, and we want
it's great.
to promote the kids and promote the high school football in our area.
Yep.
And they're a crew that does a fantastic job of it. So it's gonna be fun for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Any closing thoughts?
Eagles beat the Steelers. Are we good?
Well, we need someone. Penn State.
Yep.
Notre Dame. I mean, all of us. There's a lot of Steelers fans out there. So,
from my understanding, it's now welcome to Pennsylvania, no longer Pennsylvania.
Yep.
But, getting back to high school football, I'll be at the Pottsville game this week. Looking forward to that one as we start the league play, and I'm just really looking forward to this Division I, Division II thing, and these quality matchups we're gonna have the rest of the season.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I get a little rant. Little one?
Sure.
All right, so if you're playing high school football right now, most likely you decide in the spring you're going to play. Most likely you went through summer workouts, you went through camp, you went through a half of a season. You talked about Shenandoah right now. They're down probably in about the teams. We're not exactly sure, but we know their numbers are low. We know some teams are losing a few guys along the way, and that's happening to the teams that are struggling. So I guess my point is this. If you decide before when the season starts to play high school football as a high school player, play, don't quit. Because when you decide to play, you make a commitment to those teammates around you. I don't care if you don't like your coach. I don't care if mom or daddy thinks you should be playing more. I don't care if you think you're playing out of position, if you think you're not touching the ball enough. None of that stuff matters. When you make that commitment, you make that commitment to the teammates around you. And when you quit, those are the ones you're affecting. So you're not showing the coach, you're not showing this person, you're not showing your buddies that how cool you are. If you decide to play, if you decide not to play before camp starts, then don't play. But once you start it, finish it. Because, we see more of this now than we've ever seen before, as far as I can remember. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I mean, you see kids all the time saying, "Oh, my coach yelled at me," or "I got in a fight with my coach, so I just quit halfway through the season." I mean, I see covering these games every week. I see it all the time, and it's been relatively in the last couple of years, and it's a shame. It's character flaws to me. There's a lot of things going against kids these days that I feel like even myself I didn't have to deal with. Just a lot of distractions and stuff like that. So I mean, we do kind of have that little bit more of an old school mentality. But when it comes down to it, like you said, when you make a commitment, you're not just making it to yourself or the coach. You're making it to your friends, and that's what really matters when you're in high school. Those friendships you build and that stuff like that can last you a lifetime. And you're letting them down. I mean, you're letting guys down that put the time in the weight room and are giving everything they have, and now you're just saying, basically like, forget you. I'm gonna go do what I want to do. I don't care about you. And that's the way I take it, at least.
Yeah, you learn a lot of lessons in high school sports.
Yeah.
And we all of us here honestly believe that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all coach or coached, and we all want to win when you're out there.
Yeah.
But truth be told, you learn a lot of lessons through high school sports, and when you give it a chance, and when you stick these things out, and it may be a bit dramatic, but we're getting older now, and some of you older guys out there who have watched this, the bottom line is, those guys that were next to you in that locker room, those guys are next to you at your wedding. Those guys are next to you when you have a kid and you're getting baptized, and in some cases, those guys are carrying your coffin.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those types of friendships are made. I know that it maybe taking a little step far, but that's the type of relationships that we're used to forming, because that's what high school sports has the potential to do when you don't get caught up in all the other nonsense. So if you signed up for it, if you started it, finish it. If you don't like it, don't play next year.
And we're finished.
That's a wrap. TNT football.